Hey, you guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to get into a really important subject and a major subject. So please, you guys, stay focused, stay tuned. Don't just leave um, because this is a video that, I've been meaning to tackle for a little bit on the channel because I think it's very important for all of my audience, very much so. And it's a thing that I think is big in the world right now, and it's very serious matter. And I think that I know that it has to be addressed, and I am glad that I'll be able to address it now. But I definitely want you guys to know that this is definitely a serious topic, and it's a topic that I want you guys all to really, for anyone else who is out there, really, you're gonna we'll just say I hope that you appreciate that this video is being done because it definitely is going to reach a lot of people. And the title of today's or subject of today's video is "Do Not Terminate Yourself." Um, there's a lot of people in this day and age who, for whatever reason, whether it's not not having the job they want, not getting where they want to be in life, relationship issues, child issues, abuse issues, whatever it could be. There's a lot of people in the world who are taking themselves out of the world. And that seems to be a thing that's been going on now, in a major way. And it's interesting because, lately I've seen it even affect um, celebrities, you know what I mean? Like celebrities, uh, you know, to the point where you notice that and you're like, wow, just to name a few, it happened with I don't know the guy's real name, but the guy who played like the Green Power Ranger. And then shortly right after that, it happened to the guy on the Ellen Show, which he played in a couple of dance movies, like Stomp the Yard 2. And I know there's been, others, but that's just to name a few. And it's definitely one of those things there. I know, obviously, you have a lot of people who, um, and this is going to get tough as well for a lot of people, but you got a lot of people who go and shoot up schools and do things like that. And I'm not at all saying that that's okay, because it's not okay. Let's be first and foremost clear on that. That kind of stuff is not okay. Not okay. But often, I use that as an example to say that a lot of times there's a lot of people who, they give up on the world, and those people included. Or I can't speak for all of them, but you get the idea. Is what I'm saying is there's a lot of people who sometimes they give up on the world, and then for that very reason is why they end up go doing something drastic, because they try to take out all the problems that they had in the world with them when they leave the world. And like I said, once again, that's not okay. But I'm just hitting at the point that anyone who's felt that way, this video is definitely to gain some understanding on all of that, really address these topics, because it's definitely something that is growing larger and larger in the world. And I think with the advent of social media getting larger than it ever was before. Maybe 15 years ago, social media was pretty small. Back in the days, you had things like, say, MySpace. I think that was even before that. I think that was probably 18, 20 years ago, maybe. I'm not even too sure anymore, but you guys get the point. Back then, things weren't that crazy because social media didn't affect a lot of people because it was brand new and a lot of people didn't have it. I don't think anyone else would have known where it would have got to at this point. And I'm not saying that that's the cause, but it definitely enhances it, especially with the fact of, it changes the dynamic of everybody's lives in terms of instant gratification, in terms of influence, in terms of, other ways to wish upon a different life, because now you have a chance to just hit other people up and maybe have a potential to have that different life and abandon the life you already have, not worrying about how that's going to affect other people around you or whatever the case is. There's so many aspects. So I'm not just blaming social media or saying that that is the cause. It definitely enhances things, but a lot of it all just comes down to what's going on in your life and everyone having the problems that they may be dealing with at that time in their life. So some of the things that cause people to get into that space in the first place, just to kind of tap on a little bit, is obviously there's relationships, and that goes deep into all types of aspects. That could be from a girlfriend boyfriend, that could be from like a marriage, that could be from, you know, whatever it is. Like some people, it's just not even them actually being labeled anything, but just wanting somebody. It may not be just one person, it's just wanting anybody, and them not being able to get anybody, or feeling like socially awkward and they're not able to get anybody. That sometimes puts people in this kind of pit, um, especially when they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to, change that. And once again, I'm going to make reference to some of the old videos on my channel. If you've ever felt like, you didn't like your situation in terms of on that level of, social, or your personal development, or maybe even money, check back at some of my other videos. Just type in personal growth, social growth, and money management, as the purpose of that, and the main purpose of this channel is for people to better their life and try to get you out of those places where you feel stuck. But that is definitely, a place that's definitely, some of the reasons there is, some people might feel like I'm trapped in me, and who I am, like socially, or whatnot, where they can't even get into a space of even getting into a relationship at all. So you have those people, and the ones I just mentioned before about someone who is in a relationship, maybe in a marriage. Maybe the relationship ends and it ends bad. Maybe you have a kid with that person and it ends bad. Maybe you can't never see your kid. Maybe you're getting taken for all your money and your resources and everything, like, excuse me, everything like that. And that causes a lot of people in this world to, take themselves out of the world as well, because of the fact that they they they've taken so much time in their life building and creating, this life of theirs, that who they are, what they are, everything. And all of a sudden in one moment it all gets stripped away because they break up with somebody. And especially when it comes to finances, whether you have a kid with someone or you're married, they lose everything. I've encountered people like that, and they lose everything. And a lot of times too, if you were that kind of person, and these are the people who it affects the most when it comes to those situations, if you're one of those kind of 9 to 5ers, as I like to call it, where everything in your life relied on your job. And now half of all the things that you ever had are like now gone, and half of maybe like your resources from your job is gone. And you're not one of those business type of minded people, where you're trying to expand and have more, because, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, too, you're left in a place where now so much of your resources are gone, and you have a very hard time now recovering from this devastating situation. That is definitely a cause for why a lot of people, end up doing this. Now, a couple of other reasons outside of relationship stuff is also, some people just, they never got, the job they wanted, or not necessarily the job they wanted, but they just weren't making that much money. Society is very hard. It's hard to survive in society. When everybody, I'm sorry, when everything costs so much, and so many people are not making what's needed to survive in the world in terms of finances. Yeah, like, I'm sorry, as I was saying, as in terms of surviving with finances, it's tough because we live in a world where not only is it hard to even make the money needed to survive, but once again, between social media, and whatnot, in the media in general, there is this idea, or it passes around, the idea of how people are living around you, and like, hey, you could or should be living this way. And I don't want to say it creates envy, but it definitely makes you feel like you are left out of what's being portrayed, when half that stuff that's being portrayed is probably fake as well. But you hear it tossed around that people need to be making a certain amount of money, maybe 6 figures, this and that. Meanwhile, the average income, from my understanding, in the U.S. is $40,000 to $45,000. And the truth is that sometimes that's even the case. People making that much in really big cities that cost an arm and a leg to live, and in that case, that can also be a reason why someone falls into that kind of pit. Or even sometimes it's just their living situation. You know what I mean? Even though that kind of comes back to finances, but sometimes you're just dealing in a situation where maybe, family around you or your environment, you just want to get out of it. It doesn't relate to you at all. And you feel stuck, you feel trapped. That can be a major thing too. And one thing also that really gets a lot of people, especially the younger people, is this feeling that, when you're young and you're in school, and especially if you're in a small town, you get this vibe or this feeling in your mind that it never ends. Like, I'm going to be stuck here for the rest of my life. And whatever I'm feeling now, especially in this social pecking order that I'm in within maybe this kind of high school dynamic, you feel like it's never going to end. And the truth is, when you live in some of those small towns, it actually will never end, because when you graduate high school, guess what? The same people that are around you that were around you then are gonna also be the ones who surround you in that small town every day, day in and day out. So when you graduate at 18, you're still gonna be seeing the same people at 20, at 25, at 26, 27, 28. And so, if you're not getting along with those people, or they're putting you in a certain pecking order, you're going to feel the same way you did when you were in high school. And if that wasn't in a positive light, then of course that makes people feel trapped as well. And I mentioned that inside the channel under social growth, um, in terms of in social growth, and even in some of the aspects of personal growth. But I mentioned that, so check back on that inside the channel, because indeed, and I'm going to throw the links inside the description. Indeed, that is a problem that, definitely you have to try to work around, especially when it comes to changing up your scenario, because you can't be left inside a space that's making you feel a certain way. You sometimes really need to put in that work to actually get out of it. And all this can really bring you into a space that, for lack of a better word, I'm going to call it a deep fall, or where you feel like you're in a space where, like, you know, nobody's going to help you, um, or nobody wants to help, or nobody cares, or no one can help, or whatever the case is. So, in all those scenarios that I just mentioned, as far as what gets you in that space, there is a lot of people who will feel like, when they're in that space from the inside looking outwards, that, well, I'm just here by myself, and, I'm trapped. And I'm going to be honest with you, because, you know, I could tell you right now that, hey, there's people out there that care about you. There's people out there that that don't want anything to happen to you. And 9 times out of 10, that's true. And they may just not know what you're going through. But also, there's a lot of people out there who just don't care, and you don't have anyone who cares, and you don't have anyone who's worried about you. You don't have any of that going on. And so I'm not going to sugarcoat to say that that's not the case sometimes, because sometimes that is the case. Because if people really knew and cared, they would have been right there from the start, not even let you get to that space. So I do want to come from that perspective of the people who are in that space, they're in that, like, deep fall, and in that pit, and they're like, you know what, like, I hear what you're saying, but I feel like nobody cares. I want to say, I completely understand that there is those people who are in that space, and there isn't no one who cares. There isn't anybody who, is whatever. For those people, I'm definitely going to say to you, you definitely have to change for yourself. You have to put yourself out of the trenches, because, you know, there is a better there is a better life at the end of it all if you get there. And I'm going to jump into that in a few, with a concept that I'm going to say is not for anybody here to do, but I just want you to open your mind to this concept, and then it'll give you a sense of understanding, or a greater sense of why you should be trying to get to that next space in life, or that better stage of life. So this part's going to be a little bit, maybe, I don't want to say tough to digest, but just kind of walk with me for a little bit, and dive into this aspect with me. So, when it comes to you being into that space, I want you to imagine for a second, just for a second, that you decided okay, I'm going to, that place, we'll just say. I know we're here in a social media space where, obviously you have to be very careful what you say. So I don't want things to be said the wrong way or taken the wrong way. But say if you said to yourself, I'm going to that space, okay? And that's what I'm going to do. I'm 100%, I'm going to that space. Okay. Indulge me for a second. Walk with me for a second. Say if you know that that's the case. Okay. Why at that point then does anything else matter? All the problems that you have, why does it matter? Say hypothetically, you could go and say, you know what? Since that's going to be the case, and I'm going to that place whenever I feel like going to it, why then be in a rush? Like I said, this is just a hypothetical, so I don't want you guys to take any of this in the wrong context. If that's the case, push that place back. Push that place back another year, another 2 years, another 3 years, another 4 years for a second. And just say, in the meantime, since that place is waiting for me, at least in your mind at that moment, there's no rush. Go be a part of life. Go do all the things you couldn't do before. Um, you know what? Go take out a loan. Take out a loan, spend some money, live life a little bit, or maybe invest in a business. Go talk for, if you're a guy, go talk to that woman that you never had the courage to go talk to. It doesn't matter. They reject you. They say they say something to you harsh. That's fine. Guess what? Just walk it off and be like, yo, I'm good. Cool. I'm fine. All right. I understand. I understand. You're not feeling me like that. You have a blessed day. Move on to the next. Go talk to 100 people. For those women out there, I don't, I'm not a woman, so I don't know what would be the thing that would be getting you in terms of that. But say if it's a man, you know what? For the hell of it, hey, try this. Stop talking to that guy that's giving you all these headaches and that. Go talk to the nice guy for a minute. Maybe you're not fully into him, but guess what? It's not your thing. Go talk to them. Go have fun. Go hang out on a date, whatever the case is. You don't have to subscribe to any of that, but get a little taste of that good feeling that you weren't getting from the person who was treating you bad, or whatever the case is. Or when it comes to the job world, and you're hurting financially. You know what? Well, if that's the case, you know what? And this is going to sound a little extreme, but hey, you know what? You got an apartment, everything's drowning, this and that. Get rid of all your material things. You are going to go to that place anyway. And mind you, so I'm going to reiterate all the time. I'm not telling you to go to that place, but what I'm saying is that your intention was to go to that place anyway. You wouldn't have been worrying about your apartment. You wouldn't have been worrying about the finances. You wouldn't have been worried about nothing like that. So guess what? Don't be afraid to drop it all. Drop it all. Take your backpack, throw some clothes in it, leave your home. Say if it's like, oh, I can't afford the rent, or my life sucks, or whatever the case is, cool. Guess what? You got a whole world you can roam around in. Get a backpack, um, throw some clothes in it, leave your apartment. And I'm not telling you to do this if you feel that it's gonna completely destroy, just mess you up. But I'm saying this to say, from the context of that, if you weren't even going to be in your apartment the next day, you're going away to that place, then does it matter that you're going to now go, I'm going to abandon my apartment? I'm using this example. I'm going to abandon my apartment because I can't afford it. Well, then just leave it. Go take a walk somewhere, put on a backpack, take everything you need, just ride on your back and go find the world, see the world, walk if you gotta, talk to people, ask people, hey, listen, like, what kind of jobs you offering, this and that. You might talk to randomly come across some crazy millionaire who's like, yo, you know what? I like you. I'm going to give you a shot at this. You never know. The world is so big. And my point to all that is, um, you can totally, all the things that bother you in life, all the things that are getting you down, all the things that make you feel whatever and make you feel like you want to check out. Just understand The moment you decide you're going to that place, none of those things matter anymore. And if none of those things matter anymore, then guess what? It's like now all the problems that you had are gone because all those things don't matter anymore. Does it make sense? It's almost like, and not to spin off into some crazy analogy, but it's almost like when you look at the movie Terminator 1. I'm into movies, so don't mind that I go on a little side rant. It's almost like you look at Terminator 1 and it's like they sent the Terminator back to kill unborn John Connor. But the resistance who goes back to defend John Connor's mom ends up getting her pregnant and giving birth to John Connor. And now actually creates the savior to what the problem was in the first place. So it's like, and I say that to say, and I hope I didn't lose you in the analogy, but what I'm saying is the moment you say you're going to that place is the very moment you should have the greatest hope to want to stay here because you've now officially, once you said to yourself, I'm going to that place, you've actually abandoned all the problems that you have. And now you don't have them anymore. They're not real anymore. That girlfriend who you can't get over because it's too much for you, that boyfriend who gives you headaches all the time and it's just, you feel like it's ruining your life, they're gone. They're gone already. You've already decided that they're gone. That job that, is not paying you enough money, but you still keep going there and you can't pay your rent, that's gone. Your apartment's gone. Those problems are gone now. They're all gone. So why now are you stressing about those problems? They're all gone. You officially dropped them off your shoulders. All that weight, you already got it off your shoulders right now. You just determined, I'm getting rid of all those things. So now that you got rid of them in your mind, the problems are gone. You literally now can just go live your life from the way you want to. Now, granted, you might be coming from a space of, if it's a relationship thing, it's just about just picking up the pieces. If it's like, say, a divorce thing, you lost all your money, your finances, or you don't have a job that's paying you enough and you still don't have the finances. Well, guess what? Um, even if you're starting from rock bottom on the street and you're like nearly poor, it's still, you can relieve yourself of all the problems you have going on and find a way to build yourself back up. Because keep in mind, we're just living in this social construct that's all made up. It's all made up by people and none of it's real, while at the same time, all of it's real. What I mean by that is that the rules that we think apply in the world, that we're structured to think go this certain way, they kind of really don't. You know what I mean? Like think about it for a second. You've got people now who, do things like, and I think I mentioned this before in the channel before, but like you could go as a person and say you have nothing. You could just go and say, you know what, but I got a cell phone. I got, even if you will say like you at least have a part-time job to at least afford your cell phone, but you're sitting here like barely on the street. Maybe you're renting a room, maybe you're whatever at that point. Record videos, do that. You know what I mean? Go record videos. Guess what? I had mentioned before about easy jobs that people could do that doesn't cost anything, whether for extra income or for their main income. You can do that, which would take some time, but you can still at least be recording videos and making your own channel, your own space. Talk about your experience. Talk about why you're, changing your whole lifestyle, whatever the case is. Have like a thing where you record yourself every day, like 16 hours a day, so people can follow your life if they want. Or do day labor jobs. Go sit outside of your Lowe's or Home Depot, your local place over there, 6 in the morning. Guess what? These people will, if you look handy, you look good, and they'll just be like, oh, he looks able bodied. I'll grab him up for like to go do some painting, just nail some things in, put up a door, do us a little bit of handiwork. They'll they'll pick you up and they'll pay you somewhere between $50 to $100 a day. You know what I mean? And so for some people who aren't really in that space where they're making much, you could just be like, you know what, cool, I'm gonna go do that. My point is that if you bring yourself all the way to the bottom where there's no other place for you to go but up, at that point, there's no reason for you to say, like, I have to go to that place. And like I said, if your mindset is, and I'm not advocating for this, if your mindset is that you're going to go to that place anyway, then you have time to stay in this place, reflect, figure something out. And even if what you're trying to figure out doesn't work, you can push going to that place back at least another 2, 3, 4, 5 years. What does it matter? It doesn't matter. Take away all the pressures that are hurting your life, get them out of your life, and then start from there. Just start from there. And once you start taking your mind into a place where you're like, after doing this deep dive and you start saying, I could see that, I can envision that. Or maybe you went and you did go live life. Maybe you went and you took out a loan. You took out a loan for maybe like whatever you could get, $10,000, like $100,000 if you're capable of getting something like that. Most of us can't. But and then you went and you spent and had a great time. Maybe like I said, maybe the women, you went and enjoyed yourself, bought yourself some nice things, and you're like, oh shoot, I like that life. Or maybe like as a guy, you went and you took some women out and you had a good time, or you went to Vegas or whatever, and you're like, oh shoot, you'll come back and realize, or whatever it is that you had to do, whatever, maybe you started a business, and you start realizing that's what life could be. That's what it could be like. And you'll go, I want that. I started living now, because a lot of us don't live life. You might say, now I had a taste of living life. That's what I want. I want a piece of that. And from that point, you'll just say, you know what? It's definitely worth me staying here. And instead of going to that place, because now I got a taste of the real world of what life can be like, and hold on to that thought, because that could be what gets you moving forward to the next stage. And at this point, just stay focused. Once you have this new sense of self or new sense of appreciation for life, whether you just mentally took this journey with me to say, what could it be like if you did this or that? Or if you actually physically had to go through that journey, if you had to go and say, I'm going to downsize, I'm going to change up my life, I'm going to get rid of that person who's in my life that's causing me problems, I'm going to get through the other side of the fire and make it through. Now be focused. Now put everything together, put your plan together. And once again, if you need help, that is what this channel is for. Not only is this channel for that, um, for all of the past videos that give you encouragement, positive advice, gives you a plan in terms of everything, social, growth, personal growth, financial growth, and all these other kind of things and all that stuff. Even like the tidbits on like investing, maybe starting a business, all this other kind of stuff. Every little thing that this channel does, that's one avenue right there to help you stay focused and encouraged. But secondly, you can always come inside the comments and I'm going to respond. And if you have any questions or any additional topics that you want us to get into, because primarily what this space is supposed to be is one where you guys can ask your questions, and we will dive into it in future videos, so that way it will help solve your issue, along with, or even if you just need it for the sake of make you feel a little better, and in addition to um maybe it could be a topic or a question that someone else out there wants to know the answer and they never even thought to ask. In the moment you bring it to my channel and I say it, then maybe it will get on their feed somehow. They do a search and they go, wow, I didn't even know that that topic was being addressed. And this person here just addressed it. So the idea is for us to just be a community where we can share our thoughts. And like I said, I'm here for you guys to ask any questions or any advice that you guys need. The title of this channel is Not for Nothing. As the universal guru, I'm not going to say that I know everything, but what I will tell you is that I will try to help on everything that I can and give a little bit of knowledge or information on anything that I can as best as I can. And so if there's anything that you guys have on your mind, post it in the comments and we will address it. I really hope that this video was able to help a lot of you guys out there who is, like teetering on that line or thinking to themselves that everything is horrible and that, there is no coming back, because the truth is that you technically haven't even fallen. We are in a social construct that is made up. You don't have to live by those rules. You don't have to be set by that idea that that way of living is the only way of living, or that which feels like is mapped out for you is the only path you have to go down. You really don't have to. Life is like the Matrix. Once you understand it and you are outside of the Matrix, you can control it and manipulate it, and you can be the one. So with that said, you guys, as always, stay safe, be careful, comment, like, share, and subscribe. Once again, if you guys have anything, let it be known. Speak it out in the comments. We will bring up other topics or any issues that you guys have. I really hope that this video was helpful to you guys. And like I said, pass it along for anyone else who may be needing it. You guys take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.